Waters Primetime tonight.
Why were you dismissed?
Because I couldn't be impartial.
Do you feel like the people that you were speaking with can put together a fair and impartial jury?
I'm not sure about that.
All hell breaks loose inside the Trump jury.
The whole thing is a mess.
Hamas goes on spring break at Columbia University.
I'm a cannibal, hombre. We're gonna eat your ass.
Joe Biden says cannibals ate his uncle. Plus,
what is he on trial for?
Don't know, don't care, but he's guilty.
Fox News alert, we have a jury. The case with a crime the Democrats can't even name is now in the hands of 12 men and women from Manhattan. But it didn't come easy. One juror dropped out because she couldn't be impartial. Another juror was forced out for lying, and the DA wants to sanction Trump for publicizing it. We'll get to these new jurors in a second, but their profiles are just as ridiculous as the first batch. No bodega visit today. Instead, after court was adjourned, Trump emerged and urged the judge to crank the thermostat.
I'm sitting here for days now, from morning till night, in that freezing room, freezing. Everybody was freezing in there. And all for this, and this is your result. Look at that, each one of them a story. And it's very unfair, very bad thing. Very bad thing. The whole world is watching this hoax. You got a DA that's out of control. You have a judge that's highly conflicted. The whole thing is a mess, and you have the leading candidate and leading crooked Joe Biden by a lot. He's the one that should be in trial. He's a crook.
The day started off badly for Bragg. Juror number 2, the unmarried nurse, dropped out because her friends asked her if she was one of the Trump jurors. She said she couldn't take the pressure and couldn't be fair to the former president. Juror number 4, the Puerto Rican grandfather who found Trump fascinating and mysterious, ended up being a stealth juror. He lied on his jury form about his criminal record. It turns out he was arrested for vandalizing Republican lawn signs. He was working with Democrat Mayor David Dinkins' staff. So the judge booted the undercover grandfather. By the way, all of the information about these jurors comes from reporters in the room. The same things I'm reporting, so is the Washington Post, CNN, Politico. The media also knows Trump's lawyers have caught prospective jurors being sneaky. Jurors fill out forms that say they're not biased. I've never done this or that. And Trump's team keeps catching them. They've uncovered jurors posting celebrations of Trump losing. Videos of Trump that say, "I'm dumb as F." Posting, "Lock him up." The media knows this because their own reporters reported it. Even the jurors who told the court they can totally be unbiased when they're dismissed run to the media and blast Trump.
Did you say you could be unbiased, though?
I did.
Can you share your opinion of the former president and why you felt that you could be unbiased?
I'm not a fan. I think his handling of COVID-19 was abysmal. I have a sister who's adopted from China, and the comments he made about China when he was running for president made her very anxious and therefore made me angry. There are policies he's supported that regard women and reproductive health that I do not agree with.
Another dismissed juror says this jury cannot be impartial.
What happened? Why were you dismissed?
Because I couldn't be impartial.
Do you feel like the people that you were speaking with in that jury room that you sat with all day on Tuesday, that they can put together a fair and impartial jury because of that sense of duty? Do you think that's possible?
I'm not sure about that.
Really, why?
Everybody has biases and, stereotypes in their mind. So you have to be a really, deep and, fair person, which is very hard to do, right?
Yeah.
In order to serve as a jury.
Self-proclaimed unbiased jurors are blasting Trump and saying there's no way the jurors they've been talking to can be fair. And others are getting caught lying to get on the jury and getting caught posting on Facebook, "Lock him up." The most famous man in the world, whose personal life was in the tabloids for decades, and who was already president, and who's had hundreds of millions of dollars in negative attack ads thrown at him. The most investigated politician in American history, and the most lied about politician, is not going to get a fair trial in his opponent's most partisan city. The prosecutor's a Biden Democrat. The judge is a Biden donor. The Biden campaign paid the judge's family. And people arrested for tearing down Republican lawn signs or lying to the court to get on the jury? Donald Trump, if he's reelected, his policies are going to directly change the lives of these jurors, from taxes to health care to foreign policy. But, honestly, he's mostly going to affect their mental health. How could they ever put any of this aside? That's why we don't have political trials in this country. These 12 jurors know more about Donald Trump than any juror has ever known about any defendant ever. Johnny hit the streets to see if we could find a New Yorker who would give Trump a fair shake.
Do you recognize this man?
Brings a smile to my face every time. Yes, I do recognize that man.
That's the man. He helped out the black people.
He's going to be the president again. It's Donald Trump.
President.
I never attacked him on his look, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there.
What's your opinion of Donald Trump?
Donald Trump speaks the truth.
I like him. I think he's a character.
He's a misogynist pig and a liar.
Trump rhymes with dumb.
I'm jacking Trump. I'm jacking Trump.
You're jacking him?
Yeah, I'm jacking him. That means, I with Trump.
I thought that meant something else.
Nah, hell no.
I like that. Johnny, ho, ho.
Donald Trump is on trial in Manhattan.
Child, come and see me. Come and see me.
Finally?
That trial, bro. We need him back in the office, bro.
Oh, I did not know that.
I didn't know that. I just, you're telling me now for the first time.
What is he on trial for? Don't know, don't care, but he's guilty.
He's on trial for doing that everybody else do. The only problem is that they don't like Trump, so they put his ass on trial.
Covering up the hush money payments.
But what's the crime?
Are you for real? What's the crime?
What is the crime?
The crime is using campaign funds.
But he didn't pay with campaign funds.
I mean...
Just edit that out. Could you be an impartial juror?
I could, but I don't know if I could for Donald Trump.
No. Are you out of your mind?
I'd go straight to not guilty.
I wouldn't be an impartial juror because I kind of like Trump. I'm supporting Trump, bro. Ain't nobody gonna change my mind, not even my mama, bro.
I'm not messing around with him. He looks like he could take me.
If you were on the Trump jury, would you say he's innocent or guilty?
That man ain't guilty. He's innocent.
Innocent.
He's guilty because he is guilty.
Guilty of what? Guilty of being a New Yorker? Guilty of being American?
I don't care what the charges are. He's guilty. Aren't you innocent until proven guilty? Unless you're a piece of
Is there no way we can get rid of him?
Not without cause, Michael.
I have cause. It is because I hate him.
Do you think that Donald Trump could get a fair trial in New York?
Donald Trump can't get a fair trial anywhere on United States American soil. If you want a fair trial, go to Russia.
Russia, if you're listening.
Guess what? He's stuck in Manhattan and he's going to have to deal with us New Yorkers. Sorry.
Yes, I do.
The prosecutor's a Democrat. The judge is a Democrat. Biden paid the judge's family, and 99% of the voter pool voted for Biden.
Are you kidding me right now? Biden paid the judge's family?
Son of a bitch.
Say what you want about him. That's not fair.
Why not?
I mean, it's just math.
Google it.
Why can't the Democrats fight fair and use votes instead of lawyers?
I don't really trust them. I feel like they feed lies.
Straight up.
We the people. Word. We should be able to be the jurors instead of whoever they putting up there.
Do you think a felon should be allowed to run for president?
Well, if it's politically motivated.
It's not.
The Attorney General in New York campaigned on getting Trump.
Good for her.
Got him! What are you going to do if Donald Trump does become president again?
I think I'll probably cry.
She doesn't yet know how much she will suffer.
Well, you might not be a Trump juror, but you are going to be on Jesse Waters' Primetime. What do you want to tell Jesse Waters?
Shout out to Jesse Waters. Shout out to Trump. We voting for Trump 2024.
You have really nice people working for you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're so sweet. So you're doing great. You're doing great so far.
Today's jury selection was just as bad as Tuesday. One prospective juror said she wouldn't believe Trump even if his tongue were notarized. She also called him racist and sexist on social media. Another one said her son worked in D.C. and when asked for who, she said Hakeem Jeffries, the top House Democrat. One woman said she marched at the Women's March, is a CNN viewer, and used to work for the U.S. Attorney's Office. And all three of these people told the court they'd be unbiased. This is some jury pool. Now let's round out the rest. In the seat of juror number 2, an investment banker from New York. Oh, and also he happens to follow Michael Cohen on Twitter, the prosecution's star witness, and also gets his news from the New York Times. Another juror, a security engineer born in California without a college degree. He's married with 3 kids and likes to work with his hands, woodworking, metalworking. Not bad. Juror number 8, a retired wealth manager with 2 kids. Says he knows about Trump, but he's more interested in fly fishing and yoga. Could be good. Juror number 9, a single woman, no kids, who gets her news from CNN and the New York Times. Says she has opinions about Trump, but can put them aside. I think you know what that means. Juror number 10, guy from Ohio. He works at a big company, college educated. Not married, no kids, but lives with another adult who's an accountant. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He also loves animals. Does he love caged animals? We'll find out. Juror number 11, a woman without a husband and kids who doesn't like Trump's persona. Says Trump's very selfish and self-serving, and he's not my cup of tea, quote unquote. Flat out says she doesn't like him, but claims she'll be fair. They probably ran out of strikes. Final juror, a female physical therapist with a doctorate who reads the New York Times, USA Today, and you guessed it, CNN. The alternate's definitely a problem for Trump, but we're not even going to get into her. That's your jury, ladies and gentlemen. 7 men, 5 women. Some teachers, lawyers, therapists, a lot of single women, mostly CNN viewers, and who can forget the young lady who gets her news from TikTok and loves to dance. Let's bring in former federal prosecutor Katie Cherkasky. All right, Katie. This juror number 2 follows Michael Cohen on Twitter. Is that going to be a problem for the defense?
I guess it depends why he's following him. Maybe it's just for entertainment purposes. But I mean, they only need 1 juror. But I think you said it in your opening. Trump fundamentally can't have an impartial jury here because all of these people have a stake in the outcome of this case. If we're to believe the polling, then this case will impact the election, and everybody that lives in this country is going to be impacted by who is the next president. So bottom line,
that is such a great point that I haven't heard made yet, is this isn't your typical criminal trial where if someone gets locked up, okay, you'll probably still be safe, or if someone's acquitted, yeah, you'll be safe. This impacts everyone's life, not just theirs, but the entire country's life. How can you put that aside?
Well, you can't put that aside. And even just from a fundamental legal perspective, the definition of impartiality is that you do not have a stake in the outcome of the case. Every single person here, whether they can say it or not, has a stake because their lives will be impacted. It's just the inherent issue with this case proceeding at this point.
Yes.
So all of this is really problematic. But that being said, I think Trump has a chance.
Why do you think he has a chance? Is it the guy who likes woodworking and metalworking? Because that's the kind of guy I think you want on the jury. Someone is creative, maybe humble, works with his hands.
That sounds like a good profile, but from a trial lawyer perspective, you can't really go in thinking who's for you and against you. You have to ingratiate all of them to you. You have to pull them along, find what's going to motivate them. And some of these people maybe will never, ever do that in their life, but you never know. So you can't judge all of them by these.
You're saying the woman that flat out hates him Says she's not his cup of tea, hates his persona. Trump can actually win her over?
It might be possible that there's things about this case that she doesn't know from the coverage she's following that will change her mind. You know, these people were questioned by the defense. They weren't struck for cause because even though there's only a certain number of peremptory challenges, and again, Judge Merchan is not very generous with the for cause challenges, but if somebody is even implicitly biased, they would be excused. So there's something about them that perhaps is salvageable.
Okay. If someone is a retired wealth manager with children who's really into fly fishing and yoga, tell me about that profile. I see that as a potential defense juror.
Yeah, it could be good, especially here we have a situation with finances. We have a business decision potentially to pay this hush money, something that he may be able to appreciate.
Does the speech therapist scare you? Does the teacher scare you? Do the two corporate litigators scare you?
I'll split those up. I think that some people are classic profiles of Trump haters. They've been spending years of their lives literally obsessing over how much they hate Trump, and I don't think that they're going to come back around. The lawyers, though, I'm not too worried about, because in this case, I actually think the law and the facts are very strong for Trump. And so if you have lawyers who are, you know, actually reviewing the case and analyzing it from a critical perspective, they may actually favor him.
And the foreman, born in Ireland, Katie, you never know with the Irish.
I think that's a good thing.
We never know how it's going to shake out. That's why it's just so crazy. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you.
Biden says cannibals ate his uncle. Right back. While Trump's stuck in New York, Biden's campaigning in Pennsylvania, where he won by 2 points last time. Polls tell a different story this time. More on that in a second. Biden held a rally at a gym in Philly and couldn't fill it. That's half a gym. And half of those people are reporters. There's 1 million people in Philly. COVID's over. There's no excuses. Biden was there with RFK Jr.'s family trying to neutralize the third-party threat. But before he got on stage, they had to call security.
What did I do to you? What did I do to you? I did nothing. It's a free country. This is a free country. I have rights. I have rights. I have rights. I have rights to be here. I was invited. This is my right to be here. I have the rights. My rights are violated. It's not
The guy wouldn't stop shrieking over RFK Jr.'s sister.
So we need everybody to come and vote. Vote for President Biden. If you vote for somebody else, that's a vote for Trump. Don't do that.
Small crowds, hecklers, hoaxes, that's the Biden campaign. Joe's trying to handle a retail politics deal. Went to a Wawa, wouldn't let anybody else in. The whole thing was choreographed. Our cameras caught the Wawa workers coordinating how the order was going to play out before Biden waltzed in. Watch.
You're going to do that now. All right. Perfect. David, he's going to give you a tip, so we'll just take it. Yeah.
Right on cue, Biden shuffled in with the tip in his hand.
14 seconds.
Hey.
Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing today?
Pleasure.
It's a pleasure to meet both of you.
You got myself,
This is for you, ma'am. And this is for you, sir.
All right. And this is a tip for you. I know it's all been paid.
But then Biden went off script.
I got to check out one thing. What kind of drinks do you have?
So whatever you like, sir, we can customize it to your specifications. So we have smoothies, we have milkshakes, we have refreshers. We also
how about a milkshake? Black and white.
You can take that one.
You take that box?
Yeah.
I'm going to go order a milkshake.
There's no love, no small talk, a scripted sale in an empty room. No fanfare, no fun. The entire Pennsylvania swing's been a disaster. Little boys are flipping him the bird.
I've never thought I'd see a time when I'm going through a neighborhood or a rural town in the West or something and see big signs that have a Trump sign in the middle that says F. Biden, and having a little kid standing with his middle finger, 7 years old, 8 years old. Well, I promise it happens all the time.
And he's telling everybody his uncle was eaten by cannibals.
He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones. He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there are a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
The Associated Press says Biden's off on details about his uncle getting eaten by cannibals. But how do we know the guy didn't swim ashore, get captured, and then cooked by the cannibals? We don't. So we have to trust but verify. So we reached out to the New Guinea Cannibal Association, and they tell us they did indeed eat Biden's uncle, and he tasted delicious. And then added, "Where's Hunter?" Now, if Trump said his family was eaten by cannibals, they'd call him a racist liar and fly Jim Acosta to New Guinea, who definitely doesn't taste as good. But Biden's campaign says he's totally sharp. They put out a new ad on it today. Watch.
I love to tell the story about meeting President Biden because when you meet him, this guy's as sharp as a knife.
If you have to tell people you're sharp, you're not. Instead of spending millions on an ad saying you're sharp, just be sharp for free. Voters agree. Trump's up in Georgia, Michigan, and tied in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. All states, Biden won in 2020. Dennis Kucinich, the former presidential candidate. Dennis, before we get to the politics, if Joe Biden is saying cannibals ate his uncle, do you think he should have his head checked?
Let me just say this, Jesse.
Yes.
As a vegan, I find this discussion distasteful.
Okay, it's all right. When you see Joe Biden wander into Wawa in a scripted exchange of milkshakes and then getting lost, and then you compare that to Trump going to Chick-fil-A and getting mobbed by young black women who scream, "I'm going to tell my mama I'm famous," what does that tell you about the state of the race?
Well, let me just say that President Biden has to be out there campaigning. I think it's a good thing for the president to go out and meet people. I think the presidential race is going to be very close. But the issue, when everything's sorted out, it's going to end up being about the economy. You got a situation where for millions of Americans, their expenses are outstripping the money that they have. They're going into debt. Moody's, by the way, said, I think it said families are spending $784 each month more for goods and services than they did 2 years ago. Inflation's up about 19% over 3 years.
Sure, Dennis, that milkshake that Joe Biden just bought was $10,000. That's probably why he didn't know what to do.
People are hurting, Jesse, and they get upset with government. Right or wrong, they'll blame the president. In Pennsylvania, where President Biden has been, Pennsylvania has had a long-term financial problem because of the United States trade laws. It's one of the reasons why the steel industry was so badly degraded in the United States, and it hit Pennsylvania as hard as it hit any place. Fortunately, U.S. Steel is still hanging in there. But, there's a lot of discontent out there, and its essence is economic, but it's also fueled by the border and by billions of dollars that are being spent for foreign wars. There's discontent that's being stirred up. But bottom line, people are worried about prices.
Of course they are. And Joe Biden's letting the Japanese buy U.S. steel or buy American steel companies. It's absolutely insane. Do you believe that people are as young as 7 are flipping Joe Biden the bird?
Well, I think we have to respect the president and the presidency. I think it's really important, and we ought to reestablish that if it doesn't exist now. And children in particular should be taught respect for the president and the presidency. I think we really have to start taking a different direction in our politics. They're too personal, they're too destructive, and they ultimately undermine who we are as Americans. So
I agree.
I'm not particularly happy hearing about kids giving
me neither.
The president.
Me neither. We have to get it together, Dennis. If we could just get it together, everything would be just A-OK. Enjoy your vegan burger. I hope it's delicious. Peace. Fox News alert, a Haitian illegal alien has just been arrested for double homicide here in New York. The illegal broke into the country using Joe Biden's border app this summer. Remember Open Table for illegals? You make an appointment online, you cross the border, and you get working papers. He's now being accused of stabbing 2 people to death. Biden's app's supposed to pre-screen the migrants before they come in. Hundreds of thousands have used it. It's got more glitches than Obamacare.gov. Hamas goes on spring break.
Luxury mattresses made affordable.
Begging for help on social media. Bring me cigarettes and water. Former presidential candidate in Hawaii, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, joins me now. So you understand, I mean, you can go out and you can protest Israel all you want. You can protest the war. You can say, I'm anti-Israel even. You cannot say, I'm pro-Hamas. They're a terrorist organization. What do you think the repercussions should be, Tulsi?
Let's first look, Jesse, at how we got here. You're exactly right. They have gone beyond saying we are pro-Hamas. They are saying we are Hamas, which is a terrorist, Islamist terrorist organization, no different from Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And so you look at these young students there at Columbia University, at many other schools and cities across the country. These are especially young Americans who don't have a strong ideology of their own. They hardly know what is enshrined in the Constitution or what is in the Bill of Rights. And so they're very susceptible to this ideological warfare that Islamist terrorist groups like Hamas are waging, and are therefore easily converted and buying into that ideology. You go back to after the 9/11 terrorist attack that we experienced, you had President Bush and others who came after him who declared that they would wage both kinetic and ideological war on radical Islam. The problem is that the ideological war never really took place, and it's either because they were intellectually incapable of waging that war, or they were just afraid because, as you know very well, Jesse, as soon as you speak out or anyone speaks out against radical Islam, you're immediately tagged with the label of, well, you're just an Islamophobe. So what we're seeing here with these young people, what we're seeing here in America and around the world is the near and long-term threat of radical Islam and how their ideology is very quickly spreading, putting under threat all who are peace-loving, freedom-loving people, putting under threat our civilization.
Sure. You know, I can understand why, Biden says my uncle was eaten by cannibals. He hasn't been asked to follow up. Okay. But you now have almost 100 people identifying as terrorists, lighting fires and getting arrested in New York City at an Ivy League school, and the President of the United States hasn't said anything, hasn't been asked about it, hasn't said anything. Is there a reason? Does it have to do with Michigan that he's not saying anything?
It is. President Biden is terrified, like so many Democrat elite that we see in Washington, of being attacked by the squad or others who are either pro-Hamas, Hamas apologists, or are also scared themselves of being targeted by these activists. Once again, it just points to, if they are so afraid of the quote-unquote political consequences of doing the right thing, of acting in the best interest of our security, acting in the best interest of a peace and freedom-loving society, it just shows how they are only interested in serving their own selfish interests, and they don't really care for our country, our Constitution, or freedom, because that's what's at stake here.
No one cares like you do, Tulsi. And I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Now, if you're a politician, the global warming mob's going to pay you a visit, but we never seen anybody get tackled before, which is what happened at a Lisa Murkowski event in D.C. Watch. Happy DEI Thursday. Primetime's favorite day of the week. In honor of Reverend Al Sharpton, we're bringing you the best stories about diversity, equity, and inclusion. For Jackie Robinson Day, Joy Reid's program says Major League Baseball isn't black enough. The number of black American players in Major League Baseball has plummeted to just 6%, offering a warning about what can happen when institutions de-emphasize diversity. Are they saying baseball needs more DEI? Because 30% of the players are Latino. And there's more Asians in baseball than in any other American sport. The league's biggest star is Japanese. Major League Baseball is the biggest professional sport melting pot we have. What about the NBA and NFL? The vast majority of their players are black, 70% around. MSNBC's not complaining. They equate diversity with blackness, and blackness alone. They're saying Latinos and Asians aren't diverse. Dan Dackett is the host of Don't At Me on Outkick.com. Dan, you know more about baseball demographics than I do. Is she right? Only 6%?
Yeah, that's probably true, but, you know, who cares? Jesse, sports is the ultimate meritocracy. I mean, seriously, it is. What are you going to do? Go out and draft players, pass on a really good player because he's not diverse enough? No. Sports has always been the ultimate meritocracy, whether it's 6% or 26%. You were talking earlier, the NBA, 16.8% of the NBA is white, as opposed to 75.5% of the country is white. 19% Latinos in the NBA. Latinos in this country. 3% are in the NBA. 73% of the players in the NBA are black. Only 13% of the population. It's stupid. This argument is made by a dumb person who does not know what they're talking about, who is trying to drive race in an area where, Jesse, everybody will tell you, the most diverse thing, the most open thing in our country is a locker room, a professional team. They don't care. Look, there are teams that have started guys that have been up for murder if they're good enough. They don't care, Jesse. It's the dumbest argument ever, Jesse.
I know.
It's so stupid.
I know, and most of the white NBA players are European. So, go figure there.
Well, that appears to be diverse. I mean, as you said earlier, is it only black? When you're involved with a team and you're putting together a team, what you're trying to do is one thing, and that's win. And I swear to God, as a head coach or an assistant coach, whatever I was for 20-some years, you don't care about any of it. You don't. You just want players that fit you. And if they're black, great. If they're white, great. And I know guys across the board, black college coaches, white college coaches, football, basketball. Nobody cares. The only people that care are race baiters that have nothing else to talk about, that see a number, equate it to another number, and next thing you know, it's a story. And two very intelligent men, you and I, have to talk about it because it's so stupid. That's what we have to do.
Well, speak for yourself. I wouldn't call myself intelligent. I have great instincts. How about that? Dan, thank you so much. I think you summed it up perfectly when you said, who cares? Volcanoes are next. Absolutely wild video capturing the northern lights shining over an erupting volcano in Iceland. This volcano's been active for a month. The second longest continuous eruption in the past 3 years, and has exploded at least 4 times. Just unbelievable. We'll keep you updated with the latest in volcano news. There's no better tournament in golf than the Masters. The traditions, pimento cheese sandwiches, the azaleas. Visiting Augusta is like going to the Vatican, but greener. Every year for 4 days in April, it's a place where golf fans and, let's be honest, wealthy insiders go to see and be seen. So what was the mayor of D.C. doing there? Mayor Muriel Bowser flew down to Augusta on the taxpayer's dime to catch the third round on Saturday. 1,000 miles round trip. Taxpayers paid for it. Her office says she wrote it off as a, quote, sports and economic development trip, and that she was invited by the city task force to revitalize the Gallery Place in Chinatown neighborhood. Interesting. How does going to the Masters to eat peach ice cream develop the city's economy? I don't know. But they're saying the purpose of the trip was to explore bringing more golf opportunities to D.C. Okay? Well, D.C. has just 3 golf courses. They're public. And as far as we can tell, they've never hosted a single professional tournament. Now, we're not here to course shame, but, you know, I don't think these places are ready for a PGA event, let alone a major. An amateur event, or any high school outing. One course is in such bad shape it needs a multi-year renovation. Man, if she does get a PGA tournament, maybe I'll be there. Johnny will be my caddy. Gigi walked. We have video of it. She took 4 steps. This time it's official. When a little child that age takes 1 step and falls, can't count it. You need consistent back-to-back strides, and she's accomplished that. And if you want to see the video, we can bring it to you tomorrow. Let's do some texts. Susan from Charleston, South Carolina. If those Trump jurors can identify as impartial, I can identify as a giraffe. Rick from Marion, Iowa. The CNN viewership will hit rock bottom while those jurors are in trial. Ed from Fremont, Nebraska. Undercover Grandfather. Sounds like a great new reality show. In fact, we should add Undercover Grandfather to the nickname bracket. Slated in. Mid-seed. Eamon from Hobe Sound, Florida. Wonder if the judge has a space heater under the bench. Seriously. I mean, why is he keeping it so cold? I think he's onto something. Dell from Texas. They should select jurors who watch National Geographic Channel, not CNN. The only person who watches Fox is the foreman from Ireland. The rest, CNN, MSNBC.
You know, the pilot said it's too windy to land, sir. I said, that's okay. Land anyway. We have no choice. It's windy out here. It's windy, but it's beautiful. It's Pennsylvania. It's our place. I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. With your help, we're going to win Pennsylvania. We're going to defeat crooked Joe Biden. We're going to make America great again. Before going any further, I want to say God bless the people of Israel. They're under attack right now. That's because we show great weakness. This would not happen. The weakness that we've shown is unbelievable, and it would not have happened if we were in office. You know that. They know that. Everybody knows that. But America prays for Israel, and we send our absolute support to everyone in harm's way. This is an attack that would not have happened. I mean, to think about what we have to go through and the things we put up with the border, with no energy independence, with all electric cars. Would everybody like to buy an electric car for the But we will return the world to peace through strength, and it'll happen very quickly. We'll revive American strength abroad, and we will restore American strength at home. We were respected 4 years ago all over the world. Today, we are considered a joke. It's not going to be for long. Believe me, it's not going to be for long. We will quickly rebuild the greatest economy in the history of the world like we had it just 4 years ago. It was just announced that inflation is once again raging. It's close to 4% again. Here we go.